Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This of course is another anime reaction video. Today, we're getting into more daily lives of high school boys. I don't have too much to say before going into this video, but other than I'm really excited to see what happens next, yeah, not really much to say. So without further ado, as always, unless you're new here, there will be links down in the description below, which will take you to the full-length, uncut reaction, so go ahead and watch the reaction by following one of those links, and then coming back to YouTube for the discussion. So let's get into episode 7 of the daily lives of high school boys. I'm having a tough time deciding which joke in this episode was the best, because honestly, looking at all of them, there wasn't one standout one between all of them like there usually is. There's usually one that's like head and shoulders like above the rest in terms of just comedy, like the funniest. But overall, these were all good, around the same level of good, so there wasn't one that stood out, but like because they're all overall the same quality of like goodness, so to speak, it's generally like slightly above average in terms of the most average comedy in like a regular episode of the show. This episode has better comedy than that. You know what I mean? It's like it's more consistent, but I'm having a hard time describing it, but it's whatever. But if I had to pick one, it would probably be, it wasn't even one, it'd probably be both of the whatchamacallit, both of the Mitsuo ones, the Mitsuo part 1 and 2 thing, because it's kind of just like really like accurate and relatable. Having been a high school boy previously, like, oh, I don't even remember how, like, at the very least, like 2 or 3 years ago was the last time in high school, and even now I occasionally still do that, even though I probably shouldn't be like proud to admit this, and I'm really not. That's usually something that happens. We just talk about our past and like laugh at other like stupid shit other people did in the past. We laugh at stupid shit we did in the past, like personally did in the past. So this is just kind of like an accurate thing, because that's sometimes something that would happen. We just like hang out and talk about that sort of thing, and but I love how they sort of put a twist on that. The one who is getting like the brunt of it, who's getting made fun of the most among all the friends, came in and started telling other people's embarrassing stories, or at the very least, some of the embarrassing stories were actually of a different person. They just got the person who was embarrassed in the story messed up. They thought it was Mitsuo, but it's actually Yoshitake. And even though it probably could have done better, and that being like directly telling stories of all of the other guys as like embarrassing stories from when they were younger, it still goes to show that it's not, it's just like friendly banter or whatever. I wouldn't really consider it bullying. It can become it, but when it's with friends just like joshing around or whatever about your past mistakes, your past embarrassing mistakes, it's usually equal. Like people equally get shit and whatever about the stupid things they did in the past. So that's just kind of something that I really enjoyed. I also really liked the new sort of spin, so to speak, on the Hidenori and literary girl dynamic by doing something a bit different, having it basically be the same setting with just the two of them again, but again doing something different. That's really entertaining. But that's pretty much all I had to say about this episode, so let's get into the next one, episode 8 of Daily Lives of High School Boys. Oh man, now that I think about it, outside of like a few gags here and there, like at the very beginning and then at the very end before the end credits and then the high school girls are funky, pretty much every single segment this episode at least had Hidenori in it. I don't know how often that happens, because I never really noticed it until now, but I think it's tough to pick one like favorite joke from this episode because they're all so really good. But I think I think my favorite one has to be when Hidenori went to the konbini and was having an internal struggle, because that's something pretty much everyone can relate to, just having like bad experiences at basically, it's not technically retail, is it? Convenience stores, but at that kind of place, having a staff that aren't necessarily incompetent but are struggling a little bit, not wanting to hurt their feelings, being pressured by the people in line behind you, but wanting to and it kind of shows how Hidenori's very conscious of other people in that sort of way, and that he was thinking, oh, I really need to get my change, but I don't want to embarrass him. And of course, they choose another subversion. The older, scary-looking guy was also in training. That was just generally a really, really fun thing. What else? What else? Both High School Girls Are Funky were also really good. I wasn't expecting 2 of them in one episode, but even though they weren't like really related to the previous ones, I wanted to go back and learn more about Habura, I believe, Habura's past, because she seemed like she used to be a bit of a bully in the past, which would have been interesting to see how exactly she was then, and how she sort of changed. But since we're just getting basically like everyday shenanigans with the girls, and as much as I'd like some of the previous gags with the boys from previous episodes to just be recreated, obviously slightly different, but with the girls, just to see how them as different people entirely would react in similar situations, just seeing them goof off in their own unique way that could never really happen with the main trio of guys is really, it's really kind of refreshing. I really appreciate it. Oh wait, I didn't even look at the final Yoshitaka image at the end. There he is. I don't know what's up with that, but it keeps happening. I almost want to like get that framed and just like hang it up in my room or something. That one picture of Yoshitaka at the very end of every episode. I don't know why it's there, but it is. But that's pretty much all I had to say about this episode. So if you enjoyed this video, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single upload in the future. Thank you once again for watching. Peace.